I assume that in terms of the assets that they've got here, that they're basically looking for an exit strategy, and they have to do some asset management before they exit. Sometimes or sometimes not, and it's really about the nature of the asset management that's required to get from buying the loan and getting the underlying real estate as part of that loan, and then exiting, and what kind of asset management they have to engage in to do that.
Sure. So on the asset management side, effectively, I would split this into, let's call it, three parts. So you have the loan side, the real estate side, and a gray zone that sits in between the two worlds. Now, in a servicing platform, all three are obviously together under the same umbrella. So once the asset is transferred out of the banking institution, the sole purpose of that servicer, of the people working for that servicer, is to get the money. They are debt collectors, effectively. Nobody likes to say that, but that's what the servicer is. So they are obviously more aggressive. They can be more aggressive because you don't have a brand that you need to protect, or what are people going to say. You're a debt collector. You don't really have an image that you want to uphold. If anything, you have a bad image. So you have you are sitting opposite the various companies, and you are able to negotiate more freely than a bank, in that you are the governance over and the regulatory environment over which you operate is a bit more relaxed. So you can write off more loans. You can come up with some more ingenious ways of how to restructure them. But also you can play hardball more by bringing in more lawyers or more accountants, or coming up with different ideas on how to go after the debtor. So that's the loan side.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get a sense of what they have to do to the real estate to get it from.
Sure. So on the real estate side, effectively the borrower would turn around and say, okay, here are my assets, take my assets, and write off my loan or part of my loan, and we're sort of done. At that point in time, the real estate team will, or before that, this is the gray zone, we would step in and turn around and say, okay, these are good assets, we actually want these we want, but first of all, the borrower needs to resolve these issues. So maybe they need to vacate the building, or they need to get the town planning permit before we get them, and whatever. So you try and filter a bit the assets that you're going to get, and manage them before you actually are the owner of these properties. Once you do get them, you end up with a huge array of assets. So in my previous position, we ended up having 1.5 billion of real estate, which comprised of more than 3,500 properties. Now, we had anything from a golf course, which was obviously incomplete, up to properties that were under 10 euro. 10 euro is like what? £8 for £8.5 for a single asset, which was some half a square meter left over by like rubbish, total rubbish, and you have to manage the whole array. Now, so at that point in time, the way to picture it is, imagine you're walking down the road and you have beautiful, great environment. You have a row of houses, and there's one house that has been abandoned for years and is sort of falling apart. That's the type of asset. 9 out of 10 times, that's the asset that ends up in these real estate teams that they have to manage. This is the 1.5 billion that you have to work with. So in that case, what are you going to do? You have the company you work for is telling out and saying, look, 15% returns. We need our money quickly. And then you have your real estate side that is saying, well, hold on a minute, guys. Actually, I think that if I spend money in this, and I refurbish it, I can turn it around, and I can make a profit. And that's where things begin to sort of, is a tension between what the company wants and what you as a real estate person wants to do. So what they effectively boils down to is, can you get this thing sold as quickly as possible, rather than for as much money as possible? So in that case, what we would end up doing is, we would literally send in cleaners to clean this thing, maybe give it a lick of paint. That's a big maybe. and then push it out to agents to sell it.